I'm John Fine, the Executive Director of Editorial for Inc. magazine. I am here with Dominique Ansel. Dominique, you get started in restaurants at a very young age. How old were you?
I was about 16.
What was it like being in that environment, and how did that affect how you want to run your own business?
I think growing up in a restaurant like this at such a young age, there's nothing you know. Very early on, I've learned about discipline, about being on time, about meeting deadline, about quality, about ingredients. I've learned about working with other people. I've learned so much. It was more than just a job for me.
How old were you when you went to work for Daniel Boulud?
When I came to New York working for Daniel, I was 28.
What are you thinking at that point? This has got to be a major part in your career.
Well, when I was back in France, I worked for Fauchon, which is one of the greatest pastry shop in Paris. And I was traveling a lot. I was like teaching. I was opening shops around the world, which was great. And Daniel called me, and he was looking for an exec pastry chef at the time for his restaurant, Daniel. And I wanted to move. I wanted to do something else. I was super excited about New York, and I wanted to see the city. I wanted to live elsewhere. Thinking about the job, was a very important step for me. I had never really worked in a restaurant at this level as a pastry chef. It's a new country, it's a new language, it's a new way of working, new way of thinking. It's a new job for me because I was going to transition from being a pastry chef in a store to being a pastry chef in a restaurant, which is a complete new job. And it was a lot of pressure on myself. And I came here, Daniel invited me to do a testing. I did testing for him, and I had prepared maybe like 8 desserts. After eating the second one, he looks at me and was like, "So, when can you start?"
That doesn't always happen.
Like that was really fast. It happened really fast. 8 weeks later, I was in New York with 2 suitcases. I had folded everything back in France, closed all of my bank account, like left my apartment, everything, sold all my furniture, and I came to New York with just 2 suitcases, a few pieces of clothes, and a few tools, and I was ready to start a new life.
What was that experience like? New country, new boss, new everything. Like one of the most famous restaurants in the world.
That was overwhelming in the beginning. That was a lot. I still remember the first day I came and I walked into that kitchen. I was, of course, like jet lagged, very tired. And I remember like the bright lights. I remember the bustling, people running, like everyone speaking English, of course. And I felt this energy, and I was like, what am I doing here? My eyes just like got bigger. I was like, oh my God, this is scary. And you know what? I came in the next day for my first day, and I got to meet everyone and slowly integrate myself to the team. Of course, learn to speak English better because my English was not that good back then. But I've learned a lot since then.
What would you say is the most important thing you learned from Daniel about like managing a big organization, which now obviously you're doing at Dominique Ansel?
I think the biggest thing I've learned from Daniel is really how to please guests, how to understand them, and how to be a chef that doesn't just stay in the kitchen, but go out of his way, and is not afraid to like go and talk to guests.
Is there maybe one example where you watch him do something you're like, wow, that's an amazing thing, I should really make note of that?
I do remember these people coming for full testing. I think there were like 8 or 10 of them. They had a tasting menu, almost everything on the menu. And they came back the next day. They came back the next day to have the same experience or a different one. And of course, for Daniel, it was a different one.
Yeah.
And he gave them like a whole new menu. And so when he came to me and asked me to create something new, right now, like right now, for tonight, for this guest. And that was very challenging for me because I'm a pastry chef, so I need like 2-3 days to prepare, like to let things set, like rest, and then bake. And baking is a lot different than cooking, so you need a lot more time. And he challenged me to do something right on, like on the spot, like for them. And I was a little unhappy in the beginning, and I didn't understand why he was doing so much, like why he was like going out of his way. But then the next day I thought to myself, you know what, it's great, because he wants these people to live a different experience, and he wants every time they come to be special and to remember it.
Hey there, welcome to the bakery, everyone. The line just goes right this way along the beach.
So you come to America, you work with Daniel Boulud at his flagship restaurant, Daniel. You have an idea to start something. Let's talk about that process.
Well, I always wanted to do my own thing, and I was Daniel for like over 6 years, so one of the longest standing pastry chef there. I was had a great relationship with Daniel. You know, I was like pretty free to create anything and put it on the menu. I had a good team. It was a pretty comfortable job, and I wanted to do something else. I wanted to do my own, and I decided to just take the next step. So I found this place in Soho, which I fell in love right away. I was like, it's cozy, it's small, it's pretty, you know, and I made it my own, and I decided to leave Daniel and to start here.
What was the conversation like when you told him you were leaving?
It was tough. It was tough because we had this like really strong relationship. You know, for me it was almost like my American father.
Yes.
And I was his son, and I stayed with him for like 6 years. And one of the things that Daniel told me when I left, he told me that not to forget that I work for him, and whatever I do, I will carry his name. And I think he said it on a way where he was trying to say like, do not disappoint.
Yeah, exactly.
Do not disappoint me, and like
Don't mess
do
this up.
well,
Yeah.
do well, yes.
Yeah.
And that was his last little pressure he put on me before I left. But Daniel, since then, you know, it's been amazing. It's been one of my biggest supporter. It's been like really great with me. We have a great relationship, and you know, like he's my American father.
There must have been some really hard days in getting this started before, you know, your pastries got well known, before one in particular, which we'll talk about a little bit, got very well known. Give me an example of one really hard day starting out.
I have so many examples of a hard day. I mean, every day was hard, like from the beginning. Like, you know, I had only 4 employees. I had 2 chefs and 2 baristas.
Yeah.
And at the time, I told myself that I will not hire a dishwasher, but I could myself like wash the dishes, sweep the floor, take out the trash every day. So I did this for like a while before actually hiring someone. You know, like from like painting this shop, like putting tires myself, like playing with electrical.
Had you ever done that before?
Not really. Now I know which wire not to mix. I got shocked a few times. So, you know, cleaning bathroom, fixing computers, like I've done it all. Like
That's what it takes.
like shoveling the sidewalk with the snow, like I've done it all. So I've learned a lot. I've had a lot of rough days, from like waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning, coming to the shop, and like leaving around 10 o'clock after closing and cleaning everything.
Wow.
Every single day, it's exhausting. Every day is tough. Every day is tiring. Every day is, you know, like you want to make it better. You want to move a little faster. You want to build a little bit better. But every day, you know, every day I work. Every day is my own. Every day I can do what I think is right.
What did you take away from your early experience in kitchens that inflected how you want to run, you know, your pastry kitchens, your kitchen in LA?
Culture is very important for me. The culture of our company, the culture of our kitchen.
How do you set that up? How do you keep it going?
I'm very like relentless into like making the right thing, doing the right thing for the team. So in our kitchen, there's no yelling, there's no screaming
There's no yelling in your kitchen.
at all.
Wow.
There's no bad temper. I hate that at all.
Yeah.
Like if I see any of our chef like moody or with a little bit of temper, I sit down with them, I have a conversation with them, and I fix them immediately. So everyone is calm, everyone is organized. You know, it's a pastry kitchen. It's not a restaurant kitchen, so it's a lot calmer, organized. It's everything's scheduled, everything's prepared. There's no swearing in our kitchen.
There's no swearing in your kitchen.
No swearing is absolutely forbidden.
I really could not work for you. I'm very sorry. So, I mean, in your very first year, 2011, you were the number 1 bakery in Sagat. Time Out New York cited you. When did the Cronut come into all this?
So the Cronut came in probably 2.5 years after we opened.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people forget that now.
Yeah, and you know, like since I opened the bakery, I always believed in creativity. I always wanted to bring up new things on the menu with the season, with the holidays. So I've changed a lot. Every 6 to 8 weeks, I was changing the menu. And before I created the Cronut, people were asking me like, when did you start creating? Start creating my whole life, you know? Start creating from day one. And that was very important for me. So of course the Cronut came, and everyone just wanted to talk about the Cronut and nothing else.
And now at the New York shop, at least, you have a special line in the morning just for Cronuts, because it's become such a thing. Do you feel that overshadows everything else you've done, perhaps?
I think in the beginning it was like for sure, yes. Everyone just wanted to talk about the Cronut. They were coming here just for the Cronut, and I think it's a beautiful creation. I love the Cronut. We still keep it exciting. We change the flavor every month.
Yes, you do.
We've never repeated a single flavor in any of our locations. So it's challenging, but it's fun. I love the Cronut. I think it opened so many doors to creativity in general. And from the very beginning, I always told myself that I didn't want my creations to kill my creativity and to keep moving on. So right after the Cronut, I created the frozen s'mores, which is an ice cream version of a s'mores, like very, very popular as well. It went viral. And then the cookie shot, a chocolate chip cookie shaped as a shot glass, where we put like fresh milk inside, and you can drink out of the cookie and then eat the cookie. Really fun, and so many more after that as well. And still people were very focused on the Cronut because I think it went viral and on a whole new different level.
How many locations do you have now? Where are they, and how many employees are there?
So now I have about I have 5 locations and a few hundred employees. I have a shop in Tokyo, London, 2 in New York, and recently opened a restaurant and a bakery in Los Angeles.
So how do you maintain quality control? You can't be everywhere. Like right now, you're in your kitchen in Soho. You can't be in LA, you can't be in London, you can't be in Tokyo. I imagine you go visit, but this is you're producing tons of pastry and breads every day. How do you stay on top of that?
So quality control is very important for me every single day, every single location. So the chef, before they open the bakery, they'll take a photo of the display. They'll take a photo, a cross section of the croissants, of the cannoli.
They're cutting the cannoli and the
Exactly.
croissant so you can see the crumb.
They send it to me every day. So I'll look through it, I'll zoom in, I'll look at the details of the finishing, I will look at the structure of the croissant. Hey, I can tell like if there's something off, something like to adjust the hydration of the croissant, the baking. I can call them and actually talk through it. And then it's not 100% like perfect. Of course, we trust our team locally. We have chefs, we have managers. We trust them to be able to tell if something is good or not.
When you look back on what kind of a leader you were when you were at Fauchon, when you were at Daniel versus what you are now, what's different? What have you learned in all those years, in other words?
Everything is different. Literally everything is different. And that's great because I think the most important for me is that I've learned about myself, about who I really am, and not to be real every single time, to be honest, and how I'm able to say anything to anyone, good or bad, really good or really bad.
And that might have been harder when you say at Fauchon and when you were much
Exactly.
younger man.
You don't always have a voice. You don't always have the maturity of like saying things the right way, and you can say the most painful or hurtful things to people in a very positive way still, and just to be honest and just for someone to hear you out and just to help. I think it's very important to be always straightforward and a good person in general.
Dominique, man, thanks so much.
Thank you.
I think I might have to get some pastry now. I'm sorry.
You have to.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks again, man.
Thank you.